Good afternoon, Dunkirk and Fredonia listeners, and welcome back to News at Noon. News at Noon is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. I'm News Director Lee Pye here today with my news assistants, Maisie Strader, Sara Lodespoto, Joshua Ribakove, as well as Hunter Halterman and Sports Director Matt Volz. With this top of the hour update, we'll bring you the latest on SUNY Fredonia's campus news and events, sports, weather, and music, as well as national and international news. First up, we'll go to the event bulletin for this week. Fredonia Radio Systems is having our semesterly radiothon this weekend. The event is 24 hours of live radio, where each hour is a different show created by the campus and community members. The event starts on Friday, December 1st at 12 p.m., kicking off with the legacy show High Noon Friday, and ending the next day on December 2nd at noon, finishing off with the Big Cheeseburger Challenge. Make sure to tune in to our two stations on Friday and Saturday on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. The clubs of Writers Ring and the English Honor Society Sigma Tau Delta are co-sponsoring an ice skating event. The English department clubs are taking over the ice rink on campus Friday, December 1st from 4 to 5 p.m. A hot chocolate bar will be there to warm the skaters up, and you'll be able to listen to the Fredonia English Department playlist. Tickets are being sold up until the event at the ticket office in the Williams Center. That's it for the information through the grapevines. Next up, we'll bring it to Maisie for our latest campus news updates.
Today, from 8 to 4:30 p.m., is the start of the Visual Arts and New Media Photography Students Work Show collection. Swing by Rockefeller 227 Emmett Christian Gallery to see and support these students in the beauty their art brings. Just a reminder, because I would forget, today as well in Rockefeller Arts Center, P75 Sculpture Classroom, from 7 to 8 p.m. is an information meeting surrounding the short-term summer study abroad program for Arts of Italy. So many things are happening this week. On top of everything, the Battle of the New Bands is being held Friday, December 1st, from 7 to 9 p.m. This is brought to you by the Music Industry Club. New bands must have a working manager to get the band prepared and known. 2 original songs, a cover, and lastly, as stated, be new. Again, this will be held Friday in the multi-purpose room in the Williams Center starting at 9. Something cool, Ashley V. Giasso, a senior at Fredonia, wrote a 2-act play called Mason Wright is Not a Mother, loosely based on her own personal life. She states that the playwright started when she was misdiagnosed with PCOS when she was 15 years old. Mason Wright is Not a Mother opens on Thursday, November 30th in the Bartlett Theater and continues Friday and Saturday, December 1st and 2nd. Curtain time is 7:30 p.m., and for all 3 performances on December 3rd at 7:30 p.m., the show will be presented at Alleyway Theater in Buffalo, New York, as a special one-night reading in its cabaret space. Tickets can be bought at the ticket office on campus. That's it for campus news. Now let's send it back to Lee.
Thanks, Maisie. Next up, we have local news. At the Board of Trustees meeting, Fredonia trustee John Esperson expressed that there was someone who wanted to put a cannabis dispensary in downtown Fredonia, which will most likely not get approved. The man whose identity is concealed wanted to place the dispensary near the Orange Bowl, where the Fredonia's high school football team plays their home games. The concern that it is much too close to the high school would be difficult to get approval for. The Cannabis Advisory Committee, founded also by John Esperson, is meeting on December 13th at 6 p.m. in the Village Hall to discuss the plans to move forward with the legalization of marijuana. Anyone is welcome to that meeting. A couple of events are happening around town for the holiday season. For example, Cassadaga is having an event called Light Up Cassadaga on Saturday at Ames Common, where there's a corner, which is on the corner of Maple Avenue and Route 60. The event has Santa Claus coming to town via fire truck at 3:30 p.m. and will be taking gift requests from all the boys and girls until 5 p.m. Free hot chocolate will be provided by the Cassadaga Volunteer Fire Department, and there will be fire pits too, but in case that doesn't warm you up, the Cassadaga Library is giving out free books to children, and refreshments will be provided until 6 p.m. There will be basket raffles, and the winner will be drawn at 5 p.m. at the Light Up celebration. At 5 p.m., caroling will start, and the park will light up with a multitude of Christmas lights. Another event that's happening is Dunkirk Holiday Parade. The event will be held on Friday at 6:30 p.m. The parade is a holiday the parade's theme is holiday movie magic, which encourages participating entries to decorate their cars, floats, and themselves with their favorite holiday movie. There will be a pre-parade entertainment from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. The parade will begin at 6:30 p.m., traveling south towards the City Hall and ending at Brooks Memorial Hospital on 6th Street. Again, the event is on Friday in Dunkirk on Central Avenue. That's it for your local news update. Let's take it to the sports guy, Matt Volz.
Thanks, Lee, and good afternoon, everybody. The women's basketball team lost their first game of the season last night, falling to John Carroll 70-53. Fredonia was on even footing with John Carroll in the second half, but was unable to dig themselves out of a 22-8 first quarter deficit. The Blue Devils will be on the road this Saturday to take on Buff State at 2 p.m. The men's basketball team is on the road tonight for an exhibition matchup with Lemoyne College in Syracuse. Fredonia will look to get back in the win column following an 89-68 loss to Chatham on Monday, which was the first time all season they've lost by more than 7 points. The team's record currently sits at 2-4. The men's and women's swimming and diving teams are preparing for an invitational in Cortland this weekend. The men's team will enter the Cortland Snow Flurries Invitational looking for their first win of the season, while the women's team looks for their first win since their opening meet when they defeated Pitt Bradford. And finally, the hockey team will look to continue their mini hot streak this weekend in Rochester, as they have won 2 of their last 3 games. Their only loss in that stretch was a 3-1 loss to defending national champion Hobart on November 18th. Fredonia will face Geneseo on Friday at 7 p.m. and Brockport on Saturday at 7 p.m. While the Buffalo Sabres put on a show in New York City on Monday night, dominating the league's top team, the New York Rangers, 5-1. Captain Kyle Okposo scored for the 3rd consecutive game, and Alex Tuck scored twice. Ukko Pekka-Luukkonen stood tall in net, stopping 25 of 26 shots for a .962 save percentage. Buffalo returned to NHL 500 with the win, sitting at 10-10-2. The Sabres will head to the Gateway City tomorrow for an 8 p.m. face-off with the St. Louis Blues. And finally, after the Bills' heartbreaking overtime loss to the Eagles on Sunday, many people have been quick to throw blame around as to who should be held responsible for the loss. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, whose offense has averaged 33 points per game in the 2 games since he took over, pointed the finger to himself. In a press conference yesterday, Brady talked about the overtime pass play where miscommunication between Josh Allen and Gabe Davis resulted in an incomplete pass instead of what could have been a game-winning touchdown. Brady said that he needed to point the thumb at himself and, quote, put them in a better position to have success next time, end quote. The Bills are on their bye week next Sunday, with their next game on Sunday, December 10th at 4:25 p.m. against the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. That's it for your sports update. Now let's take it to Sara for the weather.
Now here is your Northern Chautauqua weather update brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems.
Hiya, today is a cold 34 with no break from the clouds and harsh winds. My winter coat can only do so much, y'all. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a marshmallow with all my layers on. It remains in the low 30s as we enter nighttime, with the snow swinging around for a short period. Tomorrow promises better weather as the sun comes out with a high of 49. Rough winds will make us feel colder, but I know the sunshine will contrast it, making us feel slightly warmer. At least I hope so. The clouds multiply overnight, bringing rain in the low 40s. That's it for your 2-day weather. Keep listening, and I'll be back with the rest of your weekend forecast. For now, let's take it to Lee for a local music update.
If you go to this show, make sure you have your cowboy boots on for square dancing, because Last Call Entertainment is presenting folk music in Fredonia. High Noon Friday, the variety show of 40 years from Fredonia Radio Systems, is hosting the event. Bands and artists that are playing are Milkweed and the Hurtwell Hospice House Band, Wiley Something and Affliction, Two Peas in a Pod, and Jacob Kantner. The music is at BJ's at 51 West Main Street, Fredonia on November 30th. Doors are at 9 p.m. and music is at 10 p.m. In other music news, Last Call Entertainment is hosting their last show of the semester at BJ's. Bands like Relentless Moisture, Mimic, Hit Girl, and Cornflake Car will be playing on December 7th at 51 West Main Street in Fredonia. Again, doors are at 9 p.m. and music is at 10 p.m. That's all I have for music news this week. Let's bring it to Josh for national and international news.
Yesterday, hundreds of students from a Florida school staged a walkout after their principal and 4 other faculty members were moved out of the school after allegations that a transgender student was allowed to play on the girls' volleyball team. A state law signed by Governor Ron DeSantis, named the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, requires that women's sports teams do not permit athletes of the male sex. The students of Monarch High School in Coconut Creek walked out the day after the school district announced the removal of the 5 staff members involved, stating that they would be moved to non-school sites. During their 30-minute protest, the students walked out onto the football field and chanted phrases such as, "Let her play," "Trans rights are human rights," and "Free Cecil now," in support of their classmate and in support of their principal and staff who allowed the classmate to play on the volleyball team. Do you have an old Google account that you haven't used in a while? If the answer is yes and you don't want to lose it, then perhaps you should sign into it sometime soon. Back in May, Google announced their inactive account policy, and accounts that have gone unused for the past 2 years can be deleted, with the beginning phase of cleanup beginning this Friday. If you do have an account at risk of deletion, you should have received emails at that address and at the recovery address if you have that enabled, warning you about the risk. Google states that unused accounts pose a security risk, as they tend to rely on old or reused passwords, lack two-factor authentication, and go through fewer security checks. Google states, quote, "If a Google account has not been used or signed into for at least 2 years, we may delete the account and its contents, including content within Google Workspace, Gmail, Docs, Drive, Meet, Calendar, and Google Photos," end quote. If your account is old and you just want to make sure it doesn't get removed, all you have to do is log in, look through your emails, make a Google search, or watch YouTube videos while still signed into that account. That does it for today's national and international news. Now let's take it back to Sara for the rest of this week's weather.
This weekend, we're going to play a fun game of Is This Rain or Is This Snow? A great guessing game for all ages since it'll be fairly cold out and precipitate all weekend. Friday starts off December with a series of rain throughout the day with a high of 44. Due to a light breeze, it looks like umbrellas will be pretty effective. The precipitation translates to more of like an on and off drizzle while it drops into the upper 30s. Every time I say on and off, I think of a little light switch in the clouds that flickers the drizzle on and off. I wonder if there's a way to just keep it off. Saturday morning, we get a little snowfall, but as temperatures rise to 45, it shifts to light rain. Unfortunately for us, it'll be National Skip School Day. I can't celebrate it on the weekend, but I'll be sleeping in either way, so it works out. It is a cloudy night descending into the upper 30s. Following trends of this forecast, Sunday has a rain all day with a high of 47. For me, the worst combination for the weather is cold and wet, because being soaked only makes me colder. If you don't believe me, test it out that night as showers continue in 39 degrees. That's it for your weekend forecast. Let's take it right back to Lee.
That'll wrap up for today's edition of News at Noon. Campus news is written and read by Maisie Strader. Local news for this broadcast is prepared by Lee Pye. Weather is presented by Sara Lodespoto. Sports is presented by Matt Volz. Music is prepared by Lee Pye. National and international news is prepared by Joshua Ribakove. And finally, board operations for this broadcast are performed by Hunter Halterman. Thanks for tuning in to News at Noon. Join us every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. From all of us at Fredonia Radio Systems, stay warm and have a wonderful day.